Hi everyone, thanks for listening in again to InCorp Group's Pro Business Series. I'm Eric, your usual host. I'm the CBDO of the group and my co-host here is Elton. We are also very pleased to have our colleague from our Hong Kong office, Guy Mant, in this special podcast episode. So now let me pass the time to Elton for an introduction.
Hi everyone, thanks Eric. My name is Elton, and as Eric has introduced, the Deputy Chief Operating Officer at InCorp. And today we are very happy to have with us Guy, who's also representing us in the Hong Kong office. So without further ado, I will let Guy do a self-introduction about himself.
Okay, my name is Guy. Thank you very much for having me here. And we are the InCorp Group at the Hong Kong centers. We are also running the providing company service, and then just like company secretarial and accounting, payroll, and taxation. I would say, but not about include the audit because we have an affiliate audit firm here, but definitely we are providing a wide range of services in Hong Kong, and then we can suit your needs in Hong Kong, provide you all the services you need in Hong Kong. Okay, and then I personally is a chartered secretary, and then we are also serving private company and also the listed company in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Thanks, Guy. For today's episode, we will focus on Hong Kong. For companies that are looking to expand into the country, in today's episode, which is similar to some of our earlier episodes, we will use a Q&A style format to discuss on important points that includes one, general business outlook of the country, which includes key country stats such as population, GDP, age demographics. We will talk about key industries that are trending in the country, or likely some of the type of industry or business activities that will do well in Hong Kong. We will also talk about favorable government policies for companies, which may include government incentives and tax exemptions. And lastly, we will end off with a brief company setup process and some of the options available in terms of the choices. So maybe without further ado, Elton, I'll let you ask the first question.
Sure. Thanks, Eric. Guy, I'm sure a lot of people are now very concerned about Hong Kong and the situation in Hong Kong. So maybe you want to share with us a bit about the general business outlook about Hong Kong, and maybe also share with us some brief statistics about the population in Hong Kong, the demographics, and probably, let our listeners know how COVID has effectively affected, the investment in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Okay. About maybe let me talk about first about the background or some basic information of Hong Kong first. Okay, about the population, according to the latest the United Nations data this month, the population of Hong Kong is around 7.5 million. We got people here, and the Hong Kong ranks the number is 104 in the list of the countries by population. I would say Hong Kong is a very densely populated areas in the world, and with an overall density of 7,000 something people per square kilometers. We are very dense. And about the age, our middle age is about 44, and then the ratio of male and female population is about 1 to 1.19, and then we got very less male here. And about the economy, the Hong Kong economy is very characterized about the free trade, low taxation, and the minimum government intervention. It is the world's eighth largest trading economy, with the mainland of China as its the most significant trading partners. Hong Kong is also a major service economy with particular strong links to the mainland China and the rest of the Asia Pacific region. And about the GDP, according to Hong Kong General Chamber of Commerce, if the vaccines to COVID-19 becomes widely available, the GDP is expected to be 3.5% for the year 2021, which should help bring the coronavirus pandemic under the country in Hong Kong and internationally, and also allow the cross-border activities to be relaxed. Besides, as the Sino-US the road expected to be more predictable, under the Biden administration at home. So it seems maybe we have gone through a very tough year, 2020, about the virus, but we are very optimistic about the 2021. Yeah, in terms of the economy, the development of the listing market in Hong Kong, because you can see there are still many giant companies from the US or from the China. They are very keen to be listing in Hong Kong. Okay, they are still very optimistic about the Hong Kong futures, and also they want to enter as a stepstone, I would say, yeah, to enter to China. Okay.
Thank you. I guess a question where I would think many listeners outside of Hong Kong would want to know. I mean, we have all been reading a lot of news about the security law that was passed in Hong Kong, which led to a lot of tension between Hong Kong and China. I mean, for potential companies or investors who are looking to invest into Hong Kong, what would be your advice for foreign companies in this case?
I would say, don't worry. Yeah, because I would say, we are still separated. We are still confident, and then we are independent from the China. I would say, because we are still running an independent legal system from the China, and then we are also at a place very front and row about the free. We have a freedom in trading and also our economy. So you can see, as what I said, you can see there are still many giant companies, the large company, they are still very keen to be listed in Hong Kong, and then they treat Hong Kong as one of their steps, yeah, to maybe to enter into China or to expand their business in Hong Kong, or to just like Singapore, yeah.
I see. So I think to all listeners out there who are looking to Hong Kong, it seems to me that the security law issue has sort of passed on, and economic activities are continuing in that sense. So guys, since we are still on the topic of the economy, I mean, in the local Hong Kong context, what are some of the key industries that are trending or doing very well in Hong Kong?
Okay, actually, in the old days, we got 4 key industries here in Hong Kong, just namely trading and logistics, tourism, professional and producer service, and financial services. Relied on the 4 key industries, Hong Kong succeeded to boost its economic growth, and we can create employment. Actually, taking advantage from the advanced technology and changing the business environment. On top of those 4 key industries, we are now also having more trending industries to grow and develop. Just like infrastructure and the real estate industry are highly development as they are stimulated by the expanded infrastructure needs for Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. For example, the recent development of the city's Suburport and the Science Park. As we all knew that the largest health and economic crisis in the recent history forced the companies across the sectors to extraordinary measures to protect their people and maintain their operations. Okay. Due to the outbreak, we need to change and must rely on digitalization and also automation. The market demands for the distance-based services has been expanded, including the teleconferencing, the virtual classrooms, and the online trading platforms. The business opportunities and funding needs for the companies specializing in these services are expected to keep growing considerably. The healthcare is also a promising industry here nowadays, I would say, in Hong Kong and also in the world, right? So many businessmen, they see the opportunities, and they are also going to put a tremendous amount of money in vaccine R&D, biological products, genetic testing services, and the hospitality service, and also operation of the clinics and the dental services. We also have some listed clients. They are also doing the clinics and running the clinics, and they are also they can see the big trends in Hong Kong and the China and the world. So they are very keen to push or to expand their business very fast, quickly. Okay, and then maybe to do many R&D, and then to launch many related products.
Yes, thanks, guys. I think that's very interesting to hear. These are the industries that are growing and fast catching up in Hong Kong. So maybe you can share with the listeners here, for example, people always compare between Singapore and Hong Kong, and then they are looking at, how do I get into Hong Kong? Are there any favorable government policies, such as tax incentives or grants, that will attract foreign investors to Hong Kong?
Yes, in fact, Hong Kong is a very simple and straightforward place to set up their business by the foreign companies. Because of Hong Kong is strategically located in the heart of the Asia, the gateway to the mainland China. Okay, with the close relationship with the mainland China, the Hong Kong receives preferential treatment, just like under the CEPA arrangement, and the goods qualified as a Hong Kong origin may be exported to the mainland China tariff-free. And then why many people or many foreign companies, they choose Hong Kong as their first center place. And then I think largely we have a simple incorporation process with the ongoing simple test and requirement. Okay. Internally, there is no foreign ownership restriction on the Hong Kong company, just like there is no any nationality restriction. No matter where you come from, then you can set up a company in Hong Kong. And no any business scope restriction, okay? Just like, but at least is legal, okay? And no minimum share capital to be invested. And then, because you can just set up a $1 Hong Kong company, okay? And then also there's no foreign exchange control. Then, because you can see, you can set up a company with a share capital in Hong Kong dollar, US dollar, Singapore dollar, no matter currency you can use, okay? And also there's no any restriction on the investment, inwards or outwards, okay? But I think the most important is that Hong Kong applies the territorial the source principle. It means that the tax is exempted for income not sourced in Hong Kong. Okay, just like the offshore income. So we also apply the two-tier corporate tax rate. Externally, the Hong Kong has a strict anti-corrupt regime because we have an independent commission against corruption is ICAC. Okay, it has been effectively beating both the public and the private sector corruption. We have a renowned independent legal system which is separate from the mainland China, as well as that, and then we also adopt English common law. And about, for example, the intellectual property here in Hong Kong is also well protected. We have strict regulations for patents, copyrights, trademarks, and registered designs. Therefore, you don't need to worry about your rights and the world.
Thank you, Guy. So maybe now that we come to this stage, can you explain a little bit in terms of what is the most common type of company that's being formed in Hong Kong by businesses, as well as the very brief setup process, which I understand will be simple and is entirely digital in Hong Kong nowadays?
Yeah, okay. I would say the most common types of the business legal entities in Hong Kong are private company, limited by shares, and sole proprietorship, and the partnership. And I think it's very similar to Singapore. And other than that, there are private company limited by guarantee, which is normally used for charity Yeah. And also the public company, which is usually used for fund or the listed company. Okay. In general, a private company divided by shares, just like the private company, is often chosen over other forms of the business entities, just like sole proprietorship and partnership, owing to its the benefits such as the limited liability, the separate legal entity, and the tax benefit. The requirement of setting up a private company in Hong Kong is quite simple. Just we need to have one director. There's no any restriction on the nationality. We got to have one shareholder. It can be individual or corporation, and then definitely it can be owned wholly by the foreign shareholding. Okay. And the paid up share capital is what I said. Actually, we don't have the minimum requirement of the share capital, but usually we use $1 as a share capital, and then we need to have a Hong Kong address definitely for the Hong Kong company. Yeah, the setup process is very straightforward. Checking your name, availability, collecting identification documents of the director, shareholder, and the ultimate beneficial owner, and doing the due diligence, signing documents, and passing the original to us. And the last, we submit the documents to the authority. This is very easy and fast. After collecting the signed documents, the whole incorporation takes about just 5 to 7 working days to complete the incorporation.
Oh, that's fast, guy. I think it's similar to Singapore in this case, correct?
Yeah, it's very similar and it's very fast.
Actually, within Asia Pacific or within Asia, for most part of the Asian countries, when a company is being incorporated, there is always a requirement for a local resident director.
Yep.
So in Hong Kong, I understand the regime is different in this case.
Yeah, because I know that Hong Kong, the Singapore company must have a local director, right? But for Hong Kong, because as what I said, there is no any restriction on the nationality. So the only director can be any country, can be from any country. Yeah, so we don't need to have a Hong Kong people to be a director.
I see. And if I'm not wrong, a corporate entity can also act as a director in the company?
Yes, but there's only one requirement is that every company must have at least one individual director. It means that there must be one people as a director. And after that, you can appoint many corporate directors as you like. Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you very much. And thanks for the information, Guy. To all the listeners here today, I think you will have a lot of information and insights from Guy, who is based in Hong Kong. So again, if you have any more questions or requirements in Hong Kong, do reach out to us through our website or through direct emails to myself, Alton, or Guy. Thanks again, everyone, for downloading the podcast, and we look forward to speak to you again.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you very much.